some things that were working good.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our pilot show of Critical Thinking. I have John Howe on panel with me. And as the pin says, if you have topics you'd like us to talk about, please put them in chat. If you know of a link, please drop it or email it to one of us, and we will do some research on the subject and tell you what we find. I'm going to let John talk about what he's doing, and then I will tell you what I research and stuff, and then I will go back to John and let him tell you what he's been looking at.
Okay. Let me just. My name is John Howe. I have been doing research. I have some very, very good intel that's been going on. Most people realize this country and actually the world is upside down right now with a whole bunch of stuff going on. So what we're trying to do is we're going to try to isolate a few topics each Sunday and talk about those topics. But if you have a dire need for a topic, please put it in the chat. Highlight it to one of us, either X girl or myself. I'll put my name in there so I post it. And we'll definitely, like X girl, we'll definitely look into it and see what we can find out for you. If you know, so
Hey, Lurch. Hey, Daryl. Go ahead and let us know you're here so we can always say hi to everybody. That is a pet peeve with me. I love to welcome everybody into my show.
hey Daryl,
Again, yeah, I'm Ike's girl. I do research not only in banking, I do it in mortgages. I do it in law as well. I carry a Black's Law dictionary wherever I go because I would like to know the legal definition of words. I'm a big person in theology. I do a lot of religious research. Been doing it a long time. I was raised in a Southern Baptist home. Unfortunately, it's not the best religion in my opinion, but it got me started. I have been researching religion for, gosh, 30 years. So much so that I did a biblical timeline. So
nice.
I will talk about anything and everything. Just let me know what you want to hear. Otherwise, I'm going to plan out uh, my days according to what I think people want to hear. John's going to go first. He's going to talk about his stuff, and then I'm going to talk about HR 3937. And as soon as I talk, you guys will know a little bit more when I start on that one. So I'm going to give John the floor. Hello, Cindy.
Hello, hi Cindy. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is the banking systems and what's going on. As you know, there's been several banks that have closed their doors. Uh, we had the one in California, we had one in New York close their doors. I mean, these are not just branches; these are full banks. Now, there's a couple of banking that did close the doors, but got bailed out. Now, I want to go through the difference between bailout and bail-in is so people really fully understand the two topics. I'll start. And the two topics, bailout is actually against the law now because after 2008 bailouts of the banks, they passed a law that they wouldn't be able to do the bailouts again. Now they did this very secretly and quietly, and how they did it is they printed $25 billion in cash with nothing. Of course, there's no backing behind it. Gave it to a bank called UBS in Europe. UBS then bailed out the bank uh, that needed to be bailed out, and only the bank didn't bail out the investors. They got nothing. I mean, the people that worked the bank and had like 401ks, they didn't bail that out. It's just the bank itself. And they did that quietly, so you don't hear anything about that, but that's what they did. And it was all illegally done, which is a lot of times we run into that. So you're never going to hear on mainstream media anything, almost anything I'm talking about, until they are forced to say. Like some of the banks that closed, they had to say it. They actually did do that. But this bailout, what they did on that bank, um, was never broadcasted because it was done illegally and secretly. All right, so the bail in, and bailout. So bailouts are illegal unless they try to sneak one like this. But we're on to them. And this is our government. Our government can't bail them out, so they printed the money, gave it to a different, gave it a bank in Europe, UBS. UBS bailed out. Now UBS went under last week, so all that 25 billion was wasted. Bail-ins are legal. Let me explain what a bail-in is so everybody fully understands. So you might have heard the term, and you might know what it means, but I want to start really easily by saying every dollar that you put into the bank is not yours once you put it in the bank. It belongs to the bank. And it's written in your contract when you open a checking or savings account. It's there. It's owned by the bank. And if the bank needs it, they will take it. That's called a bail in. And they're allowed to take 90%. All right, that's kind of crazy. Like if you have $1 million and you can lose 900,000, just like that, and you have nothing, you can't do anything about it. That's what a bail-in is. So just be aware with all the banking issues. Uh, just, just, I know what I've done is I have very little money in the bank because uh, the whole thing's going on. We try to keep the money out of the bank, only put in what we need. And you might have heard some stories. There's a guy, I think it's in Ohio, doesn't matter where it was, um, wrote a check for cash for $2,000 and they refused to give it to him. The bank doesn't have to give it to you. You have, that's why you got to explain what you're doing with the money because it's really not yours, even though it is yours. As crazy as it sounds, the banking has all, they have it all on their side legally. I want to tell you some good news now. So just keep an eye on your bank. Just keep an eye on when they start closing the doors on Fridays or something, or the ATMs are down. Just keep an eye because that's a struggling bank when they do these things, and almost all the banks are going to be closed before the. And I'm going to say before. I'm going to say within 6 months, most of the banks will be in trouble one way or the other. And doing bail-ins is going to be the way they're going to go because they can't do the bailouts. They don't have enough. They don't have enough to do them. They could try that $25 billion what they did, but there's all the banks in Europe and stuff are in trouble too.
If
The bank,
if you don't mind, John, I'd like to jump in here for a minute and read the legal definition of a bailout.
yeah,
It's various procedures whereby the owners of an entity can obtain its profits with favorable tax consequences. With corporations, for example, the bailout for a corporate profit without uh, dividend consequences might be the desired objective. The alternative of distributing the profits to the shareholders as dividends generally in less attractive since dividend income is taxed as ordinary income. And then it goes on into acquisition of corporation for the principal purpose of a favorable tax consequences by securing benefits of deduction, credit, or other allowances which the acquiring corporation would not otherwise enjoy.
okay. So that's a definition of, excuse me, of a bailout. Hang on a second. Sorry. So that's a definition, but they also, yeah, I'll look up the law that they passed to stop the bailouts from happening legally in the United States. But the United States government that we have in here now would go to any length. But just be aware, if the bank can't get that kind of favor from the government to do that, what they did with, I think the bank was in California. I don't know, whatever. Um, if they can't, the banks will do bail-ins because that's the lifeline. And that money that they take, it's gone forever. You've lost it. So do your own research, do your own intel. You're not going to see this stuff on mainstream media. But you could type in bail in and you get the definition of it. It's real.
It's
Um,
very real.
in Greece, they did a bailing on a bank, and I thought that was a trial run that they did about 2 years ago. They did a bailing and took everybody's money in Greece. Now they needed the money anyway, so they did that. But they wanted to see what would happen, and the people did not rise up to the length that they thought they would. Maybe when you start taking people's money, you're going to have big trouble on your hands anyway, because most people wouldn't tolerate it, one way or the other. But they did a bail in Greece, and yeah, and it went with no hitches, and they took everybody's money. That's what they did. They didn't give back either. Now I want to talk about the FDIC. A lot of people are under the impression that if you have $250,000 in the bank, that it's covered by FDIC, and I can see how you got that idea because they told you that. The FDIC has in their coffers they have about 1.2 billion. 1.2 billion ain't enough for all of us. I'll tell you right now. That's an insurance company. FDIC is not a government. It's a private company. It's an insurance company. Look it up. So if they run out of money and you got no guts, you're on the outs.
It
So
only
just
insures the I don't want to say money, but the balance of the bank, not of the individual, of the bank.
the bank, it actually does cover individuals. Like for example, if the bank got robbed and you lost your money from the bank, that would be replaced by FDIC. So on that level, in that
There's a
case,
lot of catches with the FDIC though.
right. Just I want to let you know, it is not a government. It is not a government company. It is a private industry, and they are an insurance company, just like AGI. AGI. Remember AGI? They're out of business. They insured some of those bigger corporations. They lost everything and they went bankrupt. And FDIC will too. FDIC protects the Federal Reserve is not a government company. It's a private owned industry. Works strictly for central banks. FBI, Fed is is not a U.S. Company government. They
In
want
most cases with FDIC, if they are covering your loss, what it is they're going to move numbers between that bank that they're covered in to another bank. It's not going to be actually cash given. So understand what the fine print says.
yeah, and that's a good point, nice girl. Now the thing about the FDIC, if you with what I'm telling you now, might make you reconsider what you want to do with your money, and like it did for me, it did me real quick because I was 6 years ago. I believed the FDIC was a government backed program where they could print money, and the Fed was a Federal Reserve. That was a federal company. That's a privately owned industry, and it was for a central bank. The IRS is not a government program. IRS is an individual company based out of Puerto Rico, and that company is strictly the collection agency for the central bank
Oh,
or for
great,
the Fed.
great place to be a collection agency, Puerto Rico.
Yeah, yeah. So just understand, the IRS is also a voluntary thing. A lot of people don't know it. If you want to pay your taxes, that's voluntary. It's in writing. So look it up. Do your due diligence. I'm just giving you information to work with. I don't expect you to necessarily take my word for it by any means. I think that you can take this information and look things up for yourself and start to become educated about protecting yourself.
Jump down that rabbit hole every
This is
time,
this is
every
what I,
time,
this is what I do now.
and not just to your point of view. Jump down that rabbit hole on the opposing point of view that you believe. I mean,
Yeah,
if you believe in it, jump down the ones that don't believe in it as well and find out why. Because the
it's just,
only way you can make an educated assumption or guess or decision is by knowing all sides.
exactly. It didn't. When I first heard that the Federal Reserve wasn't a federal building, I didn't believe that initially. I had to. I did. It didn't take me very long to figure it out, though. When I just started looking it up,
Well,
uh, you can figure this stuff out. A lot of people just live day by day, and these entities, they think it's all part of the federal government. It's not. They're not. None of them are.
yeah, none of them are. They are all independently owned. We borrow money from independent people. I mean, currently we owe China $778 billion in loans,
Yeah.
and God knows how much we owe the Rothschilds. Um,
Well, that's another story for another
yeah,
night.
that's a whole nother topic, I know.
'Cause I got a lot of information on that.
And yes, everyday opportunity, you'll go to jail faster for not paying your taxes than you would for murder. In
You'd
all
be
honesty,
surprised. You'd be surprised if you know the law and you know how it works. You will not go to jail. But that's my opinion. Okay, just pay your taxes if you feel like paying them. Okay, just leave it at that.
well, that's a
We are.
decision. That's a personal decision, and we don't. Uh,
We're not
we're
about.
not going to push it one way or the other.
We're giving you information so that you can have critical thinking. Is what we're talking about.
Yeah,
Start to
that's
look at this stuff critically and get information for yourself. You're not going to get it on mainstream media. And what's give me some of those Microsoft computer programs, Wiki, Encyclopedia. What is it? What's the name? Everybody goes to them and they're looking for definitions of different.
Webster.
I don't know. The point is, you really have to start to look. And we're in the right home here, guys. Hi, Rhonda. We're in the right home. We're already familiar with YouTube and Rumble and BitChute and all these other platforms. Start to search out this information on some of that, and you'll get a lot of good stuff. A lot of people, and then don't trust that. Once you get it and you feel like you are onto something, take it and run with it, and really get confirmation. That's when I put this stuff out there. All I want people to do is start to think about. I'm not trying to change anybody's mind on anything because that's not what I'm about. I'm about putting information out there. Use it if you want, or ignore it if you want. I don't care. I'm just doing what I have to do. I want to talk. Citibank. Citibank removed all programs for the U.S. bond market. They're no longer buying our U.S. bonds. And every employee that was in those have been laid off last Monday. You're going to
Wait,
see
what? Wait, back up a little bit. What?
Citibank from their business, they would buy U.S. bonds, and now they're not buying the U.S. bonds anymore.
Oh,
So everybody in those departments were laid off Monday. Okay, I think it was like I don't know. I don't know the number, so I'm not going to tell you. But everybody was laid off. You're going to see what I'm trying to bring up. The point is, that's just an example. How many people just I don't need your action. This is a rhetorical question. So just think about it. In your area, how many branches have been shut down? Different banks in the
no,
last
we lost our city bank years ago.
in the last month. How many PNC banks have closed their doors? If you are familiar with that bank, there's many branches are being closed because they're closing not because they're not busy. They're closing because it's a matter of economics for them. They're on their last leg, and they closing branches down can then take that information and use it to get money and then not have to pay out because employment is very expensive. So you're going to see a lot of these branches closing down. So keep an eye on that as I'm talking here. And
Let's ask the chat. How many of you actually know what a bond is? One, if you do. Two, if you don't.
it's buying. Okay, it's. Let me just tell
Oh,
you what
wait,
it
wait,
is.
hang on, John. Let him answer.
Okay.
Because then I've got the legal definition here. Because a lot of people don't understand what a bond really is.
Fair enough. That's good. That's a good point. That's a good point. So what did you say? One you know and two you don't know.
Yeah. One, yes, you know what it is. Two, you don't know. And then I'm going to read the definition and we're going to ask again.
Thank you guys. There's a few ones. I don't
Okay,
see any twos. I don't see any twos.
let me read the legal definition from Black Laws Dictionary.
Mhm.
A certificate or evidence of a debt on which the issuing company or governmental body promises to pay the bondholders a specified amount of interest for a specified length of time to repay the loan on the expiration date. A long-term debt instrument that promises to pay the lender a series of periodic interest payments in addition to returning the principal at maturity. In every case, a bond represents debt. Its
Yes.
holder is a creditor of the corporation and not a part owner, as in a shareholder. Commonly, bonds are secured by a mortgage. The word bond is sometimes used more broadly to refer also to unsecured debt instruments.
Yeah. So what people are doing is buying bonds from the U.S. is actually buying the U.S. debt. They're
Exactly.
buying it with a promise to get. Now, right now, bonds were. I don't think they're doing anymore, but they were paying 6%, which was crazy. Because they're never going to be able to pay it off unless they keep printing money, you know, and which is how they've been doing it. But that's what it is. Is and so these banks are not buying bonds from the U.S. anymore. So the fiat dollar is in real trouble. And I'm going to go into that a little bit. Um,
So in other words, if bonds are not being offered and bought up, that means our dollar is shrinking.
yeah, that's exactly what it means. And on top of that, I don't know how many people in here are aware of it, but China, Russia, all the BRICS uh, companies that are tied to BRICS are
Okay,
selling. Wait a minute, don't wait. Let me finish. I'll tell them what BRICS are in a second. So BRICS, everybody that's part of that are selling their bonds back to the U.S., which the U.S. has to pay off, and it's actually going to if it happened all at once. Let me just put it like this: if everybody involved in BRICS sold all the bonds in one day back to U.S., we'd have hyperinflation here. There's no way that they have to print the money off crazily. It's just to pay out the bonds. So they have a lot of these countries have tremendous amount of bonds, and they're holding our debt. And if they want to call it in, and that's not scared, that's just reality. Now, I haven't heard if they're going to do that or not. I know that they're selling some on a monthly basis. They're not buying any more back, so they're doing it little by little. They are selling the bonds back, which Skill pointed out very well. It demises our dollar.
yes.
So, and you can see that when you go to the grocery store, how far a dollar goes.
It undermines the strength of our dollar, which is why China and Russia and them are buying up our bonds and our securities is because they want to dominate our financial world.
Hey, hello, MLZV. It's good to see
Hey,
you.
Emily.
I didn't get a chance to look too much in the chat, so forgive me if I haven't addressed you and said hello to you. I'm glad that you're here. All right, I want to explain what BRICS is. If for those that don't know,
Yeah.
the letters stand for countries: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa.
Yes.
The
And
original
there are
five,
about five others joining.
there's a lot more than that. There's 22 countries have seeked are seeking out. I'm gonna tell you some of them. You'll be surprised. Are seeking out membership to it. All right. So right now the five is what makes up BRICS right now, and those five countries hold 45% of the world's GDP, gross domestic product. 45% is owned by those five countries. So now they're not using the US dollar in any of it. The US dollar's taking a back seat. I heard now this is real news today. Real news today that came to me on an intel drop that China is backing the yuan up with gold. So they're no longer they're going to become the money reserve in the world is the yuan in China. That's my opinion. I think the U.S. is losing its status. Many of those countries that are applying for BRICS and get oil from, let's say, one of those countries, um, they're paying those countries for oil, like for Venezuela. They're paying in Venezuela currency. They're not using the U.S. dollar for the oil. Saudi Arabia has already shut down the dollar deal that we had with Saudi Arabia. That all countries have to use the dollar to get oil from the Saudi Arabia. So a lot of
Um,
this stuff is happening, and you're not hearing about it in mainstream because it's news that will get everybody up in arms, and that's why we want to have this show so we can start to and like I said, take that information I'm giving you, and if something strikes you and resonates with you, fine. If it doesn't, and you don't believe it, fine. But do yourself a favor, check it out before you just dismiss it.
yes. John, I dropped a link to so people can go to compare the different GDPs of all the different countries,
Okay.
basically G7, which are the seven highest government bodies, but compared to BRICS. But that link will lead them there so they can see the GDP of all the different companies.
Okay. I'm going to tell you some of the countries that have applied for BRICS and probably will be in BRICS beginning in January. Germany has applied to BRICS. That ends the NATO. Well, Turkey has applied. So NATO's going down. It's already dead anyway. Venezuela, they have applied.
Mm.
Argentina, with the new president down there, has already applied. He wants to be in BRICS. He's already shut the central bank down in Argentina. He's already
Just out
shut
of
the.
curiosity, does anybody see a central theme here? These are countries that don't believe in the rule of law and democracy. Just saying.
I'm not going to go there because that's not what I'm. Okay, so we have a banking system called SWIFT banking system right now. Most people have heard that, and they know that's what we base our whole money system on, economic system. That's just about dead, and it will be dead probably before March or April next year. I'm just hypothetically saying that because I don't really know exactly how it's already been in the process of dying. If anybody listens to Miles Franklin from uh, he's got a silver outlet, and he's done a lot of research in this area. Bixware, check Bixware out on YouTube. He has a lot of information about the banking systems. So you might want to start with those couple of guys. We're going to go into what we call the QFS. The quantum financial system is coming on board, and it's unhackable system. And I know you're going to say, no, this isn't unhackable. Yes, this one is. Yeah, so and all of our stuff is going to be gold backed or precious metal backed, commodities backed. I would even say because Iraq is going to use oil and gold. And by the way, I think Iraq out of the Middle East comes out top on top of everything. Iraq. That's just kind of a snapshot of what's going on in the banking system. And just be aware of some of the things I've said to you because what I'm saying to you, it's real and it's happening. Just because mainstream media doesn't tell you, How many times have they not told you anything? How about, with all the nonsense that happened in 2020 and even January 6th? If anybody's been watching that stuff, they have to know. They have to know that the mainstream media is complicit with all the crap that's going on, the negative crap. So, anyway, Alex, girl.
Okay. The one thing I wanted to talk about tonight was HR 3937. This involves everybody in our community, in the coin community, silver community, and stuff. This is the third party payer venue stuff. This is
Mhm.
the bill that deals with that. And I remember, I think over on EC's last Saturday, not yesterday, but the week before, I told you all something. If they don't send the money to Israel, correct? Well, they sent the money to Israel, of course, and it has been shut down for 2023 taxes, guys. You're in the clear for this year. But in 2024, it is going to get really sticky and they're going to be very picky. And anybody that has anything to do with any kind of third payer will get a 1099K if it's over $20,000, guys. And 200 transactions. It has to be both. It cannot be one or the other. It has to be both. And I'm going to read it to you because I do have the full 80 pages or whatever it is of HR 3937. I read through it. First 5 or 6 pages of this only deals with third party payer venues. Everything else has to do with other stuff that you may be interested in. I highly suggest you go read it. I print it out because I hate sitting at my computer and reading it. I'd rather take it, sit on my couch, drink coffee, and read it and make my own notes. So, section 1, of course, is table of contents and definitions. This it's goes back to a 1986 code. A lot of people don't know that. It says increase in threshold for required information reporting with respect to certain taxpayers. A. This is section 2A. In general, section 6041A is amended by striking $600 and inserting 5,000. That was to be the initial one when they first came out to tell everybody you're going to pay taxes on anything over $600. Don't freak out on me, okay? It's not over until the fat lady sings. Inflation adjustment is amended by adding at the end following new subsection. Inflation adjustment in the case of any calendar year after 2024, the dollar amount in subsection A shall be increased by the amount equal to 1, such dollar amount multiplied by 2, the cost of living adjusted determined under 1F3. Now, when I say 1F3, guys, don't even worry about it because those just refer to other laws and it's a mess. You have to know where you're going to see this stuff. Anyway, for such calendar year determined by substituting calendar year 2023 for calendar year 2016, subsection A double I thereof. If any increase under the preceding sentence is not multiplied by $100, such increase shall be rounded to the nearest multiple of $100. Okay. So, in other words, if your COLI, cost of living increase, COLI, is 3.2%, it's going to be this coming January, and it only hits $92, you will pay $100. Okay. If you pay 85, it's going to round it up. Anything $50.01 will round it to $100. So you screwed that. Application to reporting remuneration of services and direct sales. Okay. They're striking the $600 or more and inserting equals or exceeds the dollar amount of, in effect, for such calendar year under 6041A and 2 in subsection B1B by striking 5,000 or more and inserting equals or exceeds the dollar amount in effect for such calendar year under section 6041A. I know I'm seeing a lot of damn legal definitions. It's just referencing other laws. Okay, now here's the important part for everybody in here. So pay attention. They're striking the $600. Okay. In subparagraph and inserting the dollar amount in effect for such calendar year under section 6041. Effective date is December 31st, 2023. Okay? That means nothing before 2023 can be taken care of because they're having issues with the 1099K forms, getting them to all these people, and they're doing thousands and millions of transactions a day. If you think $10 is going to get you, it's a penny to them because they move millions of dollars a day. So, exception for de minimis payments is Latin crap by third-party settlement organizations. This is you guys. A third-party settlement organization shall be required to report any information under subsection A with respect to third-party network transactions in any participating payee if and only if, one, the amount which would otherwise be reported under subsections A2 with respect to such transactions exceeds $20,000, and number two, the aggregate number of such transactions exceed 200. Okay? The amendment made by this section shall apply to returns for calendar years beginning after December 31st, 2023. Okay, so 2024, you don't have to do it this year in your taxes. All right? Don't have to claim it. They're not going to push it. And if you tell on yourself, you deserve what's coming. 2024, however, you will get a 1099K miscellaneous income form for third-party payer venues. Okay? This will tell you how much money that they have taken in for you, how much fees that they have taken from you, and what the total amount they sent to your bank or whatever is. And it'll probably, the way they're talking about the 200 transactions, I expect to see a box on the 1099K form for how many transactions were involved. So you won't be able to get out of it if you have over 200 transactions and over 20,000. Now you have to have both in order to, if it's $20,001 in one transaction, it's not going to fly. There's a loophole because the and isn't there. Okay. So everything else in this is about stocks, bonds, property. It's a big bunch of hula for 2 pages of rules that happened. So this year it's a no-go because they couldn't get their shit together to get the 1099 done and 1099K. So be aware of that. I don't know. Somebody was asking me about fees on credit cards. They do that anymore because there's a lot. Everybody's using a plastic card, whether it's debit or credit anymore. That's their cost because those companies charge, and get this, they charge about 25 cents per transaction. Okay. You're getting charged 40, 50%, 50 cents, whatever it is. That's because they're trying to make up for their employees' time for having to work with that card. There's the reason why you do it. That's what's going on. 39. You can get a hold of HR 3937. It's in the first 6 pages first three are definitions and all that happy horseshit. But it's page 5 and 6 are what absolutely concerns you, and the third pair venue. Third pair venues, guys, are Cash App, PayPal, Google Pay, Venmo, Zelle. Not Zelle. Zelle is bank. Okay, they don't charge fees, therefore it cannot be. Um, I would highly suggest you all look into Zelle. It's going to be the one that saves your butt. As far as everything else I'll talk about schools. I'm not exactly a happy camper that our school systems, wherever, whatever state, wherever you are, because they're listening to a left-leaning lobby group. Okay, the NEA, the other National School Board Association, SBA, they're left-leaning lobby groups. They're telling our schools what to teach and how to teach. Know what they are. Go look at them. Go look at who works for them and their resumes. You can always find all that stuff online.
Go to school board meetings.
Yeah, voice your opinion and you might get yourself arrested, but
Uh,
who knows? Who knows, what's going to happen. But those are the two leading factors that are determining what our children learn. Are the NEA, National Education Association, and the NSBA, National School Board Association. Again, both are lobby groups for the left, for the Democrats. Okay. You may be there, but what they're wanting to teach your kids and the stuff I've seen, oh my gosh, the book I saw, they want second graders to have is pornographic. Literally pornographic. So
are you getting feedback on your
yeah, my USB has been stupid. I don't know why nobody's touching it. Anyway, I also do a lot of research in religion because I believe prophecy drives um, politics. I know a lot of people don't, but there are a lot of things that are going on that absolutely fall in line with a lot of things in the Bible you may or may not want to know. That's your choice. I'm still going to talk about it, the things I know, the things I've seen. Um, Today I got confirmation that, sorry if you're Catholic, Pope Francis lied about uh, oh, a child rape case in Argentina, the Grassi case. He influenced the appeals judge to drop the case so um, that priest would not go to prison for 15 years. And then they moved him to Italy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not happy a camper to know that the Pope, supposed to be the vicar of Christ sitting on the Pope's throne is a liar.
We could do a whole story on the Pope.
Yeah. There's a whole lot. They moved over 900 priests from all over the world to, well, 75% of them are moved to Africa. Let's put it that way.
Well, 650 planes came here, full of gold from the Vatican. Yep.
Anyway, yeah, it's a mess. He's doing a lot of stuff that's not conducive with the Catholic faith. And I know there are five or six of the archbishops that are coming out and calling him an anti-pope right now, because of the things that he's allowing that go absolutely against doctrine. So it doesn't surprise me a bit, but it is what it is. I get into a little bit of everything because you should always know your enemies. You should always know who's not your enemies, or you should always know what's really going on around you in the world, whether you want to or not.
I would say this: when you hear something, it sounds crazy. It probably is. Just do your homework. Don't just accept it on face value. That's what got us in this mess to begin with. All of us did. Face value. We trusted our government.
No,
We did.
what got us in this mess is we trusted in our government to do what was right, and we went about our daily life not checking into things and
Well,
calling
that's
it
right.
out.
That's what I just said. Yeah. So I want to mention Nasara. I want everybody to know a little bit about what Nasara is because that's what's going to be coming soon to a to
The
a.
what?
It's called Nasara, and it's Nesara.
Oh, Nasara. Yeah, it's a new banking system.
No,
Yeah,
it is not. No, it's not a banking system. No, it's not. Sorry, ex girl. It's a National Economic Securities and Reformation Act. What they're doing is they're going to have a restart in the whole
John,
world.
John, your operative words there are economic.
Economic.
That means money.
Of course, it means money. It means everything. It means gold, metal, precious metals. It means gold, oil. It means anything that does deals with the economy. Period. I
So
suggest I suggest you look it up.
yeah,
Type
there's
the
another one
letters.
that goes along with it too. It's not just sorry. It's what's the
Okay.
other acronym? There's another acronym that goes along with it.
National it's
It is
G.
dealing with our money and our finances and how our
Okay.
bank.
Let me finish, Oscar. Let me finish, please. I need to finish this.
Well, Don, this is my 30 minutes.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay.
30 minutes.
I don't know how many people know that the Pope has put in his own World Economic Plan to the UN. They also have started a religion called Krislam. It's all the faiths put together into one. The first church is already built and open and running. There's your world religion. Um, and it's just time to wake up and pay attention to what's going on. The Pope has a great deal of influence over our governments, our countries, our people. Um, go look up Chrislam, Chrislam. The first church was opened somewhere back in Saudi Arabia. I don't know if the Vatican has released the Pope's economic plan for the world yet. I know it's available somewhere. It's not good. They Fed Now. John was talking about the banking system. Fed Now is our net is taking over our banks now. It's a government banking system. Every transaction that your bank does has to go through Fed Now, so they can keep an eye on everyone. It's been up and running for a little over a month. It's caused some serious problems. A couple months ago, we had that Cash App and PayPal problems where nothing can go through. That was the problem. Um, there's just a lot of things going on. Watch the UN. They're doing a lot of underhanded, dirty stuff going on right now. And how many of you have heard about the white pneumonia scare that are going on with kids? They just pretty much released it. It's a bronchial infection, bronchitis. For those of you who have had it, it's probably nothing. For those of you who haven't, it feels like a truck is parked on your chest. They're saying that antibiotics are not having a good response with it, but it's mostly affecting children. And my understanding is one child has died. It started in Ohio as the first outbreak that we know of. Watch for that. They needed another pandemic, guys. Um, 17:1-8 discusses one world religion. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It's one world religion, one world banking system, one world government. and they are working very hard at getting there. Daniel talked about everybody go back to when we were leaving Afghanistan and we left all that material, all the, you know, military stuff there. That is in Daniel 9, believe it or not. You know, you could read these passages over and over and over, but until that event actually happens, you will never know what it actually means. The passage that China, Russia, Afghanistan, and Iran got together and had a talk as soon as we pulled out is in Daniel 9. Um, so yeah, you know, 80 billion in armaments and gear. I don't doubt that a bit. I wouldn't doubt if it was more than that. Um, I'm not going to talk about the case against Hunter Biden or Joe Biden right now because we only see what they're putting out through Congress. Know that all the stuff John's talking about, Congress has to vote on and
No,
in favor of. Yes, to back pigs, they do.
no.
Yes, they do.
Okay,
They
you say
have to
yes.
actually
I'll
get
agree to
the vote
disagree.
to spend that money. So if they're not getting that vote, something nefarious is going on. Uh, Bailouts, I believe companies should go under if they cannot keep their books pristine and keep themselves above water. They're doing something wrong. I think government employees personally should be able to be fired, but you know,
Not a podcast. 10 minutes.
yeah, there are so many different topics that I have read about and done deep research on. So yeah, tell me what you want to
So,
hear, and I will get the stuff
okay.
together.
I play these things around your schedule. I see it's raining.
So let me know that again. Let me know the topics you want to hear about. Let me know if you want to see our faces because then I'm just gonna have to put makeup on and stuff like that. I have to be prepared. Okay, John, I'm gonna let you have the last few minutes.
Okay, thank you. Um, I want to make something very clear. Write down these initials. NESARA. They stand for National Economic and Securities Reparation Act or Recovery Act. Now, that is already a law. It's already been passed. It was passed in 1999. They were supposed to issue it out on September 11th. Uh, Rumsfeld was supposed to come out, or not Rumsfeld, I forget the guy's, Powell. Was it Powell, the economic guy? Anyway, they're supposed to roll it out, but then they had 9/11 happen. And every time they get ready to roll this thing out, and if you download it and print it out and read it, you understand why they're trying to stop it. It's already law, already been signed in. It actually was signed in 1999 by Bill Clinton, and that's a whole story I'll talk about another night. But I want you to, if you care about it, because it's an answer. It's an answer to all the stuff we're talking about, and that's why they don't want to implement it because that changes everything. So, bricks. I did notice um, somebody in the chat. I forget who said that half the world will be in BRICS. It'll be more than half the world. Already, 22 other countries have signed in to sign up to go into BRICS, and they're positioning their currency to deal with the one-on-one because currency will be one-on-one in the world. So, um, I just want to end this my segment on a very positive note. All these things that are happening around us have to happen. They have to take place. All I want you to do, everybody that hears this, is do your own due diligence, look it up, check it out, and see if you have never heard of some of these things. It's certainly good for you to look into it. Okay, it's been a very pleasurable night tonight. Ike Squirrel brought some very good information, and I hope I filled your coffers with enough stuff to keep you in track until we get here next week.
So I dropped John's email in my email in chat. If you want us to research a subject, a specific subject, please don't hesitate to email us. Whether we like it or not, we will research it. We'll present what we can find. Um, and I'm going to present both sides. Okay. That is how I was taught in college. You take both sides and then you make the informed decision. I will voice my own opinion and why, but I will present both sides. If John wants to do that, that's something he can. That's up to him. I wholeheartedly believe in knowing all the information, not just one side or the other, or just bits and pieces here and there.
Okay.
Um, let's see. At this time, we're only running about an hour. I think in the future this is going to get to a longer version. Let us know when you think we should run. Let us know if we should run longer. Let us know your opinion on everything. And we do this out of our own pocket. So any contributions would through PayPal, not PayPal, Cash App. I prefer Cash App, but whatever. I am not monetized. I doubt I will ever be monetized because one, I'm a little bit pissy when other people want me to do stuff so they can take my money. I'm not really fond of that thing. So you can help us out by donating anyway. Yes, Muscle Shell. We can touch on that one. We probably touch on abusive situations. Um, there's a lot of subjects we can touch on. Let us know what you want to hear.
Sure. Remember, in an hour's time, this is just bringing some things to light. I have a tremendous amount of detail on the bricks, and I have a tremendous amount of detail on the Sarah. I want get familiar with those terms and understand how they work, and so you can we start talking about it, you won't get lost because we didn't go into much detail tonight. Just
Nah,
scratch the
no,
surface.
it was a chocolate chip on top of a muffin. Is
Yeah.
what we
Okay.
touched on tonight.
All right. I'm going to say good night now.
All right.
Yeah.
You have a good night, John. Thank you.
Yep. Yep. See you
Email us.
guys.
Let us know what you guys want to hear, what you want us to research, and we will be up again next Sunday night. If you want us to do it twice a week, let us know. I will start
I'd like to
putting these
start
out.
earlier, extra, if we can.
Yeah, I know. We really do have to go a little bit earlier, even for me on the West Coast. John is on the East Coast. So let us know where you think we should bring this up, what days you would like to hear it. I would not want to go more than 2 days a week because research takes time. Good research takes a lot of time.
Hmm.
And I will try to put a schedule together by how they come in. I know, Muscle Shell, it is very serious for you because you're having a hard time right now. I know. We will talk about a lot of different topics that may or may not get under your skin, like it or not. So, thank you everybody for coming. We are 2 minutes from our 1 hour show. I appreciate it. John and I have been planning this for some weeks now. I think it went really well for just tiptoeing it through the tulips today.
Hmm.
Anything else you want to add, John?
No, I think we're all good. And we're going to try to keep it and have some fun. Some of the stuff that I'm going to present are going to make you very, very happy. So it's good.
Well,
Right?
it's not our job to make you happy. It's our job to
But it will.
inform you of what we have found.
Okay.
All
Very
right.
good. We did a good job. Thank you.
All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you for showing up. Good night, Carrie.